Hello and welcome to my first English lesson that I'm going to do online for you at the moment. If you did my rounding lesson on Monday or Tuesday this week, then well done. Hope you got on okay and enjoyed the activities. And like I say, this is an English lesson and I'm going to have a nice starter activity for you to get your brains thinking, and then we're going to do a lesson all about inference today. Again, I'm going to try and make it for if you're in anywhere in Key Stage 2, even Year 2 maybe, might be able to have a go at this as well. I think you'd be able to. And obviously, for this one, I'll tell you what you could do to stretch yourself a little bit further and extend your learning so that we can all be involved, whether we're in Year 2 or Year 6. Okay, so I hope you enjoy it. Take part in all the activities as much as you can. I'll ask you questions and then I'll leave a pause for you to answer those questions. If you need a little bit more time, you can pause your video. That's the beauty of doing it online. So you can pause your video and you can shout out answers to me as well. I'd love to know that you're shouting out answers back to the lessons that I'm giving you. So let's get going with our first activity. Okay, I've got two pots here. One of them is labelled adjectives. Can you tell me first what an adjective is? Think very carefully, what type of word is an adjective? Okay, hopefully you said, if you can see that, it says describing words, so they describe things. And then my other pot has got the word noun written on it. What is a noun? Can you tell me what a noun is? Okay, hopefully you said it's a person, a place or a thing. So it can be nouns of people or places, names of people and places, or it can be things, objects like a pen or a pot or a table or a wall. Lots of things can be nouns. Now, probably from your lessons that you've been doing at school already, you know that adjectives can help describe a noun. So they can describe the noun to give whoever's reading your lovely writing or listening to what you're saying, they can create a better picture in their head of what your noun looks like. So we're going to do this first game and we're going to use the board behind us. You don't need to have anything, you could just have a piece of paper for this activity so that you can match them together. And what I would suggest you do is write down the words as I say them. You could make a little chart like this if you wanted to, or just write down the words and then I'll tell you what we've got to do next. Okay, so I'm going to start with 3 adjectives. So I'm going to pick out 3 from my pot and then I'm going to write them on the board. As I'm writing these on the board, you can perhaps think about what that adjectives means as well, and what noun you might need to describe it with. Okay, so my first one is grand. A good adjective. The next one is enormous. I'll write that one down. And then final one at the moment, I might do a couple more, depends how we get on, is breathtaking. Oh, that's a lovely one. Breathtaking, that's a great adjective. Okay, I spelled them correctly. Right, let's pick out 3 nouns now, and then I'll write those on the board for you. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I've got dog. Then I've got sunset and lake. Okay, here's the first part of the game then. So grand, enormous and breathtaking are my adjectives. Dog, sunset and lake are my nouns, okay? If you're not sure what any of those words mean, then you could pause the video now and see if you've got a dictionary, or you could go online and use a dictionary on the computer if you haven't got a physical book dictionary at home, and you could check to see what these things mean, okay? Because you need to know the meaning of them to be able to do this. So, the game is for you to match one of these adjectives with one of these nouns, so it makes a sensible phrase. At the moment, we're not making a sentence. We haven't got a capital letter at the beginning. We haven't got a sentence with a full stop at the end. We've just got a phrase that could make part of a sentence, okay? So, have a little look. can any of those adjectives, or could you match any of those adjectives with any of these nouns so that it would make a sensible phrase? Okay, have a little think. And if you've written them down on your piece of paper, you could just draw lines between each one. Okay? So I'm going to give you a minute to do that. If you need a little bit longer, remember to pause your video and you can have a think about it and have a chat with people that you might have at home as well to see if you can come up with your phrases now. If you think that none of your adjectives match with a noun, then just leave it. Don't draw a line between them. Okay? So this is your time to do that. Okay, right. Now, this is the strange part about online lessons because it's great that you're watching, but I can't see you watching. So I'm going to tell you what I would give as my answer for this game, and then you can see if it matches. There's no right or wrong to this. It's just whether you think or not it would be a phrase that made sense at the end of it. Okay, so let's have a look. Grand, enormous, and breathtaking. Breathtaking's lovely, and I think breathtaking and sunset would go really well together because sunsets can be really breathtaking when you see them sometimes, especially with all the lovely colours across the sky, can't they? Okay, then I think we'll have an enormous dog because there are some tiny dogs around, but there are some enormous dogs as well. So I think enormous dog would be sensible. Now, grand means very big and expensive looking and plush. I don't know whether that would go with lake. You could have enormous lake as well, so enormous could go with lake, but I don't know whether grand and lake would go together so much. So this would be your next challenge for this, is for you to come up with your own adjective that you could use to describe the lake. So what adjective do you think would be a really good one to describe a lake? Have a lake in your mind. Lakes can be all sorts of shapes and sizes. They can look different colours. So think about the lake that you've got in your mind. If you were describing that to someone, what word would you use to describe it? Okay, and my lake is going to be nice and calm at the moment. So I'm going to have the adjective calm, okay, and describe that. Okay, to describe the lake. So I'm going to have a calm lake, a breathtaking sunset, and an enormous dog. Okay, brilliant. Another challenge that you could do with this game, and it's up to you if you want to play it like this or not, you could now see if you could put your phrases into a sentence. So you could have the enormous dog pulled its owner along by its lead. Okay, so you could have something like that. You could think even more about these words, and you could create a more complex sentence using two or more of these phrases. So you could have something like, well, you have a little think first before I tell you. Okay, so you could have something like the breathtaking sunset. Do you know what? I've thinking off the top of my head and I've forgotten what I thought now. That's it, I've got it now, it's back again. The breathtaking sunset was seen behind the calm lake. There you go. Not the best one, but I'm thinking off the top of my head here. All right, so you've got time, you can sit and make some creative sentences. What I'm going to do for you now, just so that you can carry on playing this game a little bit more, I'm going to pick out 2 more adjectives and 2 more nouns and write them down on here. And then if you want to, you can carry on playing this game as well. So I'll write, we've got massive and brave. Oh, massive and brave as my adjectives. And then my 2 nouns that I've got, lightning and sheep. Oh. Okay, so if you want to carry on playing, you can use the other 2 adjectives. You might want to rub these lines out and start again with 5 adjectives and 5 words, because you might decide that you want the breathtaking lightning this time instead of the breathtaking sunset. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so that's a game that you can play. You can play this at home on your own. You can pick out some. You can challenge people that you might have with you at home as well. There are lots of these little word cards on my website as well, which you can print off. I will put a link on the bottom of this video so that there's loads of them, too many to fit in my pots. Okay, so you can print them all off, or you can have a look at them on my website and choose some and carry on playing this game. It's a really good one, and it helps to expand our vocabulary as well, because you might pick out some words that you've not used before, then you have to go and find out what those words are and link them to a noun so it makes sense. So, different type of English game that you can start with. Okay, so well done if you've given that a go. Pause it now if you want to carry on playing this game for a little while, because in a moment I'm going to move on to the next activity. Okay, well done, you've done really well to start off with. Okay, right, next activity now. So we played our first game. I'm just going to pull this one down so that doesn't distract you too much. Okay, now the main part of our lesson is going to be to do with reading comprehension, and one of the skills that we need to be really good at when we're doing our reading comprehension. Reading comprehension is all about reading a story or a part of a story and then being able to answer questions about that, basically to show that we understand what it means, okay? And one of those skills that we have to learn about at school is called inference. And it's a really long word and sounds really complicated, but it basically means something really simple. And it's actually really interesting inference, because you get to be a detective when we're learning about inference. So I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Inference is using clues from a story that you're reading or a picture that you're looking at to try and work out something about a character or a place or something that's going on. Okay, so we're all going to put our detective hats on. If detectives wear hats, what else might a detective have? You can shout at me and tell me what a detective might have. A magnifying glass maybe, so we can look really carefully at things. A notebook and pens, so we can write things down. Fantastic, okay, so you're going to be a detective in this lesson today. We're not doing any reading. We're going to do it all with objects. And we're going to have a go at doing something with a picture as well in a minute, okay? So although it is reading comprehension, we're not doing any reading, but we're building up one of the skills to help us with our comprehension. Okay, so I've got a box here, and in my box there are lots of clues, okay? And I'm going to reveal these clues to you one at a time. And it's up to you what you want to do at home. You can shout out to me at the television screen, or maybe not shout. If your parents don't want you to shout, maybe just call out gently your ideas and your answers. And again, you can pause if you need a little bit more thinking time, or you can write your ideas down on a notebook and pen. I'd love to hear some of your ideas, so if mums or dads want to send me a little message giving me some of your ideas or showing me something that you've done, that would be really good, because then I know that actually people are doing this lesson, which is great. So I'm going to show you these clues one at a time, and these clues all tell me something about one person, okay? You won't know who this person is, it's not a famous person or anything like this, but you need to tell me what you can tell me or what you know about that person from the clues that I've got in my box, and I'll help you along with it. So we'll do them together and I'll give you time to think of some ideas as well. Okay, ready for the first clue in my box. Okay, right, so the first thing I've got in my box is one of these, which is a passport. Okay, so I'm a detective and I've just found this box. I need to find out what this person is like, and the first thing I've found is a passport. Now have a little think. Where might I need to use a passport, or why might I need to use a passport? Okay, so maybe if I travel out of the country, I need to have a passport, don't I? I need to take a passport with me. And when we go through all the different checks when we're going to a different country, our passport is looked at a lot of times. So if I need it because when I travel to different countries, what might this tell me about the person whose items these are in the book? What type of person might they be? Have a little think. Okay, maybe they're somebody who likes to go on holidays a lot. Did anybody say that? Brilliant if you did. And maybe also there's somebody who has a job where they have to travel lots as well. So it could be two different things. So you're not right or wrong, whatever you've said. It's whether you can work out what a passport might tell us about somebody. Okay, that was my first clue. The next clue, a bit different to a passport, this one. Oh, this one is these. Anybody know what these are? Got quite a few of them here. These are baking cases or cupcake cases. So what might this tell us about the person who we're thinking about today? So we already know that he or she likes to travel, or perhaps has to travel for their work. What might this tell you about them? Have a little think and either write it down or give me your answers. Okay, right, so I think this might tell me that either the person has a hobby where they like to bake cakes, because this is something you would need to bake cakes. Maybe they like eating cakes as well, which is why they have these. But I think probably that because they have these, it must mean that they bake cakes. So perhaps it's a hobby or maybe part of their job as well, that they're a keen baker. So that's that one. Okay, we've got a couple more clues in here. Oh, this is a notebook and a pen. Notebook and a pen. And if you can't see it very well, the notebook says, dream big, never quit. Oh, so what might this tell you about this person as well? So we know that they like to travel or have to travel for their work. They might have baking as a hobby. What might this tell us about the person? Okay, right. This is my ideas. You've probably got lots of other ideas which are just as correct, okay? So this one, because it says dream big, I think, well, it's a notebook. Perhaps they're quite ambitious, which means that they like to try new things and like to see if they can do new things and plan new things to do as well. So maybe this is a notebook full of all those things that they want to do in the future, maybe. Perhaps because we know that they travel a lot, perhaps it's to make notes of their travelling, where they've gone and all the lovely places they've seen. Perhaps it's to note down all the things that they're doing in their work on that particular day, or perhaps noting down quick ideas that they might have when they're doing their baking. Maybe something comes into their head that they want to note down. So somebody that takes notes, somebody that likes to be a bit organised as well, because they have to write everything in a notebook. Or maybe somebody that will forget what they've thought about, so they have to write it down in their notebook as well. Lots of different ideas about what that could mean. Okay, and this links a little bit with the notebook one. This person has also got quite a few paper clips in there. What do you think paper clips might tell us about this person? This is an odd one, isn't it? What might paper clips tell us about this person? I think it might tell us that this person is quite an organised person, I think. Likes to be organised, keep everything together. Yeah? Okay, one last clue. You're being super detectives right now. Okay, the last clue is a dice. Oh, what might that tell us about the person? What different ideas can you think of that a dice might tell us about this person? Okay, here's my ideas. I wonder whether you came up with any of these as well. So my ideas are, maybe they like to play games. Maybe they've got a group of family or friends they like to play games with. Usually if you're playing a game with a dice, it's usually you're playing with somebody as well. Maybe, what else do we often use dice for as well? When you're at school, you might use these for a particular lesson. Maybe maths, yeah. So maybe they like to do lots of maths, and they're a mathematician, and they need dice to work things out, or to make numbers, or whatever they're doing in their maths there. So perhaps they're a mathematician as well. I think probably more that perhaps it means they like games or like to play games as well. So look at that. You've been a detective, and you've got a picture of this person in your head now. Somebody that likes to go on holiday. That does baking as a hobby, that is very organised and likes to write notes of all the things that they want to do in their life, maybe. And finally, somebody that also, although they're very organised and likes to go on holiday and travel and bake cakes, they also like to sit and relax by playing games as well. So all that you've just done now is inference, okay? You've seen an object and you've been able to tell me what you think that means about a person. That's all inference is. Okay, so well done. You've done really well with that first activity. My challenge to you before we do the next activity is these boxes are really interesting to make. Sorry, I can't see the box on the table. These boxes are really interesting to make. If you've got a box or a bag or a tray or something like that at home, how about you go and find some objects around the house that you can then infer meaning from, just like we've done here. You have to look quite carefully and think about it and have an answer yourself in your head as well. But go and make a box up of a few objects, 4 objects, maybe more, maybe less, and see if you can challenge somebody at home to do a bit of inference as well. It's really interesting to make up boxes because you can create this person in your head that you can turn them into whoever you want them to be by just going around your house and looking for objects as well. You could then perhaps draw out a little outline of that person and write down all the things that these clues tell us about them as well. So lots of different things that you can use, but this is a really good game to play and also gets you up and moving because you're exploring your house to try and find things as well. If you do that as well, I'd love to see a picture of any of your boxes or bags or trays that you put together, and I'll have a go at doing some inferring as well. Okay, so well done. First bit of inference that we've done there. Fantastic. Okay, well done if you had a go at the inference activity. I've just done this. I should have done this while we were talking about all the different objects in that box. So I've just done it now quickly just to show you something that you could do if you wanted to note this down as you were going. So I've just done a little outline of a person, and then I've just written down my ideas of what I've inferred from the meaning of the different objects that we found in the box. Okay, so you can, if you wanted to do something where you write something down, then that's one way to do it. I'll put a little outline character like this for you to download on the website with this video if you want to. So you can either print it off or you can just draw your own little person or stick person if you want to do some writing around it. Entirely up to you. Okay, the last activity is carrying on with inference, but this time we're going to look at a picture from a book. Now for this activity, you will need to either download and print the next resource that I'm about to show you from my website, or just have the screen open so that you can see. You don't necessarily have to print it if you're not able to, but you really need to see this because I can't show you very well on the camera. I wish I had a huge interactive whiteboard behind me, but I don't, I'm afraid. So I can't show you this brilliantly. So I'm going to talk you through the activity and then the resource, and then I'll also do the answer page resource or my answers. Again, with inference, it can be lots of different answers, so I might not think of all of them, but I'll put down some of my suggested answers on there as well, so that once you've done the activity, you can compare them with my answers and see if we've matched up. Okay, so like I said, reading comprehension or the skills for it isn't always about us reading. We can do this with pictures as well. So this is from a book called Winnie's New Computer, and Winnie is a fun character, and if you've never read any of these books before, really good books to read, but also the pictures are really, really interesting, really detailed, and this is where you need to be a fantastic detective, because sometimes we just look at a picture once and you don't realise how much is in that picture, and I've tried to pick a picture that's got lots of detail in it for you, and your challenge for this is to infer what you think Winnie is like as a person from this. So a bit like we did here, but you'll find out a little bit more about Winnie and her home life as well from the picture here. So you're going to find out and tell me what you think Winnie is like as a person from the picture, okay? This is the resource that you need to download or look at on your computer, because you could just look at it and then write the answers or tell somebody at home your answers, or however you want to do it. but it's got the picture on it from the book, so you can have a really good look at that. And then it's got some boxes with, I'm kind of pointing you to certain areas that will make you think about what this person is like and what's going on in the picture as well. So the question is, what can you infer about Winnie the Witch? Okay, she's a witch as well. So what can you infer about Winnie the Witch just from this picture? And you'll be amazed how much you know about her once you've had a look at this picture. Okay, I'll give you one example while we're here, and then I'm going to leave you to carry on with it and then have a look at my answers afterwards. Okay, so if you, like I say, you can't see this picture brilliantly, but down in the bottom left-hand corner here, you might just be able to see that there are a huge pile of plates, and they're not nice clean plates because they've got things on them, stains. It looks like some peas on there, some little round red things, maybe tomatoes. It's got some bones, there's a big fish bone there as well. So there's lots on these plates, lots of muck. So it's obviously been food that she has eaten or people in her house have eaten, and there's a lot of these plates stacked high there. So what might that tell you about Winnie the Witch? Somebody that leaves all their dirty plates and just piles them up, doesn't scrape the food off them, just leaves it there. What might that tell you about her as a person? Have a little think. So, if it was, and this is my answer, if it was me thinking this, I'd infer that perhaps she's a person that is not too worried if her house is clean or not. And perhaps a person, it could also be that she's just far too busy to do the dishes, that she's just far too busy to do any cleaning because she's got lots of other things to do in her life. It might be maybe that Winnie's got a really big family and she doesn't have anybody else to help her. So she just has lots of washing and cleaning to do all the time, so she just leaves it all to stack up. I think probably with this one, it's more like Winnie has perhaps got other things to do or isn't too fussed about what her house looks like, because if you then look really carefully at the rest of the picture, it also looks a little bit messy as well, but I'm not going to say too much more. Okay, so your challenge, now you know what inference is and you were really good at my box of clues and trying to work out what all those things meant about this person. Your challenge is to have a little look at the picture and think about, I've asked you to look at the clothes she's wearing. Think about what those clothes might tell us about that person. We've already talked about the plates, so you've got a little box there. If you print this off, you can write down what the plates might tell us about Winnie the Witch. Underneath her computer there's lots of cables and wires. Have a good look at those and see if that might tell you something about Winnie the Witch as well. Then around here there's some drawers and cupboards. Have a little look at those, see what's happening, and again see if you can tell me something about Winnie the Witch from that. The weather outside doesn't really tell us about Winnie the Witch, but I just wanted you to have a really good close look at the picture and see if you can infer what the weather is like. It's quite obvious that it's there's one type of weather going on, but particularly if you're in year 5 and 6, even year 4 as well, see if you can come up with 2 or 3 at least, reasons or inferences that you showed me about the weather. So don't just tell me that perhaps it's raining, that you've inferred that it's raining because you can see water droplets outside. Have a real close look and tell me about any other things that you might have inferred as well. Okay, because one of the skills, once we know how to do inference, one of the next skills is to give lots of reasons for why we have inferred that. So for instance, I've inferred that she's quite a messy person because she doesn't clean up her plates. Okay, so you can do this, you can just tell me one of the things that you think about her, but if you're in certainly years 5 and 6, you've got to be thinking about perhaps writing a few sentences to really explain why that's helped you to infer meaning about the character. There's a little bit more space around the page, so if you see anything else you think, oh, that tells me this about her, write that down as well. And again, if you do it and you want to send a picture to me, get mums and dads to send a picture to me of your page with your work done, that would be fabulous, because it would be lovely to see that some of you have had a go at the activity. Okay. So like I said, the links for this will be on my website, so you can really then have a look at the picture clearly. And have a go, have some fun, and also have a go at creating one of those boxes that I showed you as well with all the clues in as well. So your challenge today is to be a fantastic detective that can find out lots of things about someone just by looking at clues and thinking about what that tells us about that person. Okay, so you've had 3 activities today. Whether you do one of them or all 3, well done. And I'll hopefully see you next time for our next English lesson. Well done.